Welcome, everyone, to the It's Official podcast. He's Jeff Siegel. I'm Jeremy Plonk, and it's Travers Week. We hit 5 hot topics on the show each and every week, and we start things out with the Midsummer Derby. It's our first of 5 on the big board, the showdown at the Spa. A field of 8 has already entered for the Travers Stakes coming up on Saturday, Jeff Siegel. We don't have the Kentucky Derby winner in here. We have nobody from the Preakness Stakes whatsoever. And yet it still feels like the 3-year-old race of the year. We've got just about everybody else.
It does, and there's one more race after this that might have some impact, the Pennsylvania Derby, and then the other races are for older horses. But if you can, for example, if you're Dornoch, if he can win a race like this, he would pretty much sew it up no matter, I'm talking about sewing up the championship, the Eclipse Award, if he will win this race. But if he doesn't, then the door is a little bit of it's a little ajar there, because I think there are still major races to be won. And even if it's not 3-year-old only, if you can win a race like the race out here in California, the Classic, which is actually the prep for the Breeders' Cup, or even the Breeders' Cup itself, that's a pretty big element of your resume when you go and try to figure out who should be the champion. I'm not even sure who the favorite's going to be. I guess Dornoch will be the favorite in 5-2 in this race. Fierceness will have his backers. The filly, Thorpedo Anna, certainly will. Sierra Leone might get plenty of play, if for no other reason than people will think it's his turn to win.
Right.
And then the others will be, prices and all that. Unmatched Wisdom is undefeated, but I think he's really going to have to step it up. But the weather should be good. We should have a dry and fair track, and I'm looking forward to it. If you like somebody, you're going to get an okay price. You won't get 6-5 or anything like that. But the question is, with so many inconsistencies among the horses here, does anybody really know what Fierceness is going to do? I don't. It makes for very interesting must-see watching, if nothing else.
Well, let's take a look at Fierceness in his training towards the Travers Stakes on Saturday, coming off the win in the Jim Dandy. It's always about, can he ever put 2 big efforts in a row? And maybe this workout with the older graded stakes winner Bright Future will give us some clues towards that, Jeff. It's good race, bad race with him sometimes. He's coming off that good race in the Jim Dandy last time. Give us a little sense of what you're seeing here from Fierceness. And this is kind of plan B for Rapoli Stable and Todd Pletcher. They were going to run Mind Frame in this race and skip because they didn't think this horse would put 2 big efforts back to back. With Mind Frame now out of training for a bit, it's Fierceness back into the fray. What are you seeing here, and do you like how he's coming up to it?
I do, but here's the problem is he's never put back-to-back races together. A win, then he gets beat 20 lengths. A win, then he gets beat at 20 cents on the dollar. A win by 12, nowhere in the Derby. Then last time out in the Jim Dandy, he wins that. So this should be the down race. He looks fine here, and he drew the 8-hole, so he's going to get a very similar trip. At least I think Pletcher hopes he does. The Travers outside, he's got speed drawn inside of him. He's going to try to get over and get into a good stalking position outside, just like this workout was. The problem with the Fierceness I have, and of course I can list just as many positives as negatives, which is why I don't know what he's going to do. But the problem with Fierceness is that while he does run well in a stalking position, he's never really run well without being up in the fray in every race. And there is speed that could get away from him here, which theoretically would be fine if you knew he could run that way. But if he gets back 5 lengths off the pace, do you really know if he's going to, come get him, or is he just going to start going up and down? I don't know. I can tell he looks good. He's working well. I don't think the last race, even though he won it, it was late July. He should have had enough time in between races. That shouldn't be an issue. I just don't know how he's going to react to having to come from 4 or 5 lengths off the pace. And if he, I don't know. What do you think?
Well, there are 5 horses in this race that have never won a race from more than 2 lengths off of it. Every win on the resume. Thorpedo Anna, Unmatched Wisdom, Batten Down, Dornoch, and Fierceness. All of their victories, every single one of them. And they have prolific win records, a lot of these horses, but they've done it all within 2 lengths of the lead. If there are 5 horses within 2 lengths of the lead going 1.25 miles, this is what makes the Travers a little different than most of these other races, right? It's not the Jim Dandy at 1.1 miles. It's not the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. It's not the Florida Derby at 1.16 miles, 1.1 miles. this is a mile and a quarter, and they always say it's kind of where the separation happens, amongst these top class horses. If 5 of them are out there and going with it, we will have to see, because what we saw in that workout with Fierceness is he started behind his workmate, right? Well, you're going to see a theme here as we go through some other workouts. These trainers are trying to figure out, can we get to rate? There are 5 speed horses in this year's Travers. Danny Gargan's got one of those in Dornoch from post number 7. He'll be outside of most of the speed except Fierceness. He's working outside his stablemate Ringy Dingy in this particular work. And again, this is a horse who essentially went wire to wire in winning the Belmont, wire to wire in winning the Haskell. But they're trying to relax in this particular workout, Jeff. They're going fast, but he's trying to relax behind a rival.
Well, I would be aggressive with him because he's yet another horse who has never won a race in which he wasn't on the lead or right there pressing the pace. Mm-hmm. Now, he looks fine. He's not going to get by the workmate. He's not all that willing in the morning, but this is not a race. It's just a workout. They went 47 and change, so this is about as fast as they want to go. He looks like he's eager here, and I can't knock the work at all. I mean, he does actually get up and get to the win, so to speak. So I think he did exactly what they wanted him to do. He's fine. The question, though, is the race shape, the race flow, is it going to favor him? What happens if he's forced to sit 3rd or 4th, 2 lengths off the pace, if he doesn't break well, or if he's not quite as committed to go to the front as some of the others? He's a game horse. He seems to always find extra in the final furlong. Give him that. The title's on the line. This is the must-win for him. And the way he's been training and the way he trained here, he's ready to run as good as he can run. If he can get the trip that he needs to win, then he might actually be the most likely winner.
It's not always that the Belmont Stakes winner is the horse that you just circle for the Travers, because it's a 1.5 mile Big Sandy, the end of the Triple Crown series. Maybe they're not still as good come August, but this is about as apples to apples as you can get this year, with the Triple Crown ending at Saratoga at 1.25 miles. It wasn't the awkward distance of 1.5 miles. It wasn't the different track of Big Sandy at Belmont. This is exactly what we're playing. And I remember on Belmont week, I must have called the race the Travers 4 or 5 times in our podcast, because it just felt like the Travers, and so we are there. And the horse who won that Belmont Stakes is Dornoch, and we'll see if he can repeat back, adding to his Haskell and sewing up a championship in winning the Travers Stakes. Let's look at another worker, Thorpedo Anna. She's got speed, but they tried to sit behind rivals too in her workout. Where will she go? Well, she's got the rail coming up on Saturday under Brian Hernandez Jr. Again, all of her victories, she's 6 for 7 lifetime. She's been close up in all of those routing. She did come from behind. I did say that she did have one race where she came off the pace, sprinting around 1 turn in her career debut. We do not expect her to be sitting too far off of it, though, on Saturday, do we?
No, and I think with the rail, you have to let her roll out of there. I mean, she's got plenty of speed, and let's not forget that even though she just won the CCA Oaks, she sat a little bit off the pace that day. She got left at the gate that day. It was an amazing performance. And if you watch this work, she is really keen. She's very, very sharp here. Ears are up. She's full of run. She's going to turn in an excellent final time on 59 and 4 without even blowing out a match at the end. This was a really good work. I think you can't ask Thorpedo Anna to come into a race better than she is right here. She's obviously got proven the form over the track. But from the rail, I wouldn't mess around with her. I'd let her run out of there. And if somebody like, for example, Dornoch, if he's committed to go to the front, I don't think she has to be in front, but sometimes these jocks go in 1.25 miles. There's a longer run into the clubhouse than normal. And they might all kind of grab a little bit and try to play cat and mouse with each other. If that's the case, if I'm Hernandez and Thorpedo Anna, I'd be aggressive. Go, let them chase you. Right. She's faster, as fast as any of them in the race, and use that rail to advantage.
I think one of the significant points about her presence in this race is the absence of Mystic Dan, right? The Kentucky Derby winner for Kenny McPeak. When they talked about the Belmont Stakes, would it be Mystic Dan or Thorpedo Anna? Kenny was like, well, I've got Mystic Dan in here, so we don't need to run her against the boys. Now he doesn't have Mystic Dan, who is sidelined, much like we're talking about Pletcher and Rapoli with Mindframe being sidelined. So now Fierceness gets, volunteered back into the mix. She's in this race because, A, she's had an incredible campaign, but A1, if you will, in terms of the reasoning why she's in this race, is because Mystic Dan has been sidelined. So 2 of the major players in this race may not be here if their stablemates were ready to answer the calls. So Are they peaked? Is this the race that they're going to run their absolute best race in? Is this where they've been aimed to all season? Maybe, maybe not, but we'll find out with Thorpedo Anna. Those are just some of the speed horses we've talked about in this year's Travers. Of course, the one closer, he's been the closer since last year and in throughout the entire campaign this year. That's Sierra Leone. He was the winner of the Bluegrass. He was the winner of the Risen Star. In the Kentucky Derby, he was second choice, beating a nose in there. He's had a lot of trouble running straight. He's got that paddling front left action. But last time out, Flavien Prat kind of figured it out, glue him to the inside. And there's not much what he can do in terms of, with that drifting in. And it worked pretty well for him in his second place finish in the Jim Dandy. Let's see how he's training coming in to the Travers Stakes here. Here to pick up Sierra Leone. He is going solo where the other horses were working in company. Here's his workout at Saratoga on August the 17th. What do you make of the son of Gunrunner?
He looked great. Now, he only went in 49 and a fifth, so he's not burning up the track, and he's well within himself. And, as a horse that generally drops out of it, he's not going to blaze out of there and do anything fancy. But he's moving well. He looks eager. Again, his head looks cocked to the outside a little bit, which I don't like, but that's just him. He's going to look good, but why shouldn't he go in at this by himself, half and 49 and 1? The best thing I can say about him is he looks like he's maintained his form, even though he's danced a lot of tough dances this year. Obviously, Pratt is going to lay back. He knows that his chances are basically dependent upon what kind of help he gets up front, if any. Right. And he's going to try to make one run, which I like because there shouldn't be much traffic here. He shouldn't have to weave his way through traffic. Just drop out of it, produce one late run. If the race shape is in his favor, he'll have every chance. I don't trust him because I thought in his last two races, beaten choice in his last two, I thought he should have showed a little bit more desire to win than he did. He kind of waved the white flag in his last race in the Jim Dandy. But if they go out fast, and when I say fast, I mean somewhere around 3/4 and 11, maybe a tick or two faster than that, then and he's got a really good chance to tag the speed. Again, I think you'll know what kind of chance he's got down the backstretch when we see the first half mile get posted in the 3/4. Then we'll find out.
Yeah, if it's 48, 47, something like that, he's got a shot, If it starts getting high 48s in the 49 for the open half, it's going to be tougher for him in that particular case because you're looking at 3 or 4 good horses that would have to come back to you. It's not just one speed horse out there going easy, right? When you've got 3 or 4 of them out there who are quality, the chances of all of them coming back after getting fairly easy fractions isn't as likely. He could be, I don't know. He's either the underlay or the overlay in this race, Sierra Leone, because again, he got beat at 8-5. He got beat at 4-5. If you're going to get $9 on him come Saturday, it's not a bad time to take the gamble when the race sets up for him. But the public isn't used to dropping horses that they have love affairs with, and everybody can read the form like we can that this race may set up for a closer. So you may be looking at an underlay. Sierra Leone could go favored in this race, and if he's the favorite, now you're saying, boy, you're not getting enough. So he's a really difficult read.
He is for me, and the only thing that I will say is other things have to happen for him to win. He doesn't control his own destiny. And if he's going to be well bet, and if he wins, I don't feel bad. I mean, let him win. I don't have to bet on a horse to appreciate the possibility that he could win. But when it boils right down to it, and I'm a racing fan actually more than I am a gambler. I'll admit that now. I just love the sport, and I'll make spot bets and try to make a little money now. Not like I was back in the 80s when I was a serious professional gambler, but in watching this race, I just want to see a good, clean race. And I also want Kenny McPeak to get rewarded for being bold here. I like trainers who are not afraid to be great or have their horses become great. Are you listening, people who train and own Next? This is a horse that is going after immortality here. What was the last time a filly won the Travers? Like
1915, I think.
Yeah. So good for them. She's already wrapped up champion 3-year-old filly honors. She's won 6 out of 7. If she were to add that to the Travers to her resume, she's a Hall of Famer. Maybe even without it, she would be. But I tip my hat to them. And while this may not have been their first choice, I could see what Kenny's thinking. This filly's training great. Nobody here is a monster, like that. They all kind of take turns. Why not give her a chance to be great? And if she doesn't win, what have I lost? What's what have we lost? Nothing really.
Yeah.
So it's not even the money. It's just the chance to be great. I like trainers and owners who have that sporting instinct in them. So I want to root for Thorpedo Anna. Whether or not she's a gamble or not, I don't know, but I'm going to pick her for that reason only.
If I had to make a bet, it would be Dornoch right now, because I like the way he's finished up on the back end of his races. Fierceness didn't come home as strong. You said there was a little bit of kind of dawdling and haggling at the end for Sierra Leone in his last couple and not finishing with flair. Dornoch just kind of wants to beat you when he's there, and I think he'll be there, and so he doesn't give it back. And so for me, I think he's the slight lean right now, as we have a couple of days to figure it out. We want to remind you that Jeff and I will be back on Friday for our first call podcast, where we'll handicap all the big races for the weekend, and we will hone in on our Travers picks for that one. Be sure to check that out.